Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Headman Academy's little session or tips on reading, IELTS reading specifically. My name is Shakib and I'll get through each of the tips one by one and try to explain as quickly as I can. Okay. One thing that I've noticed in reading is paragraph headings, matching the paragraph headings. And it takes a while for few candidates to get used to it. But I believe that if you can follow these instructions or tips, I think you will be good to go. If you can take it nice and slow during your practice session. If you don't want to practice alone, you can practice in a group also. You can bounce off ideas with each other. Okay, let's get things started. First off, I'd like to start with read the instructions. I know it sounds a bit silly and sounds very simple, but it's the most important actually step. It's the most important step, most crucial step. I mean, there are some candidates that when they see the paragraph headings, they might get a bit nervous and just get straight into the reading part. It's best to see what is involved in it and what you're going to be dealing with. And there might be some specific steps that you need to follow. So it's always best, before starting anything, before starting this paragraph heading session or section, it's best to read what is instructed from you, what is expected from you actually. Next up, I like to go with underline the keywords. Now with why I believe this is another crucial step, because if you underline the keywords in the passage or in the text, then there is one way you can match up the underlinings in the question also. So I believe that you can match the synonyms and the paraphrasing that goes on between these two. At first, it's a hard skill to, acquire. So I always believe in take some time in terms of getting as many accurate answers at first without putting too much pressure on the time limit, on the timer. Next up, I'd like to talk about the answers, where the answers can be found. It actually can be found in three parts. At first, let's say you have 8 questions and 9 questions. Out of those 8 questions and 9 questions, for each paragraph, you might find the synonyms or the paraphrasing in the first few lines of the paragraph or the last few lines of the paragraph. What I mean by first and last few lines, it'll be about 2 to 4 lines around their average. If not, there is a special circumstance where you have to read the whole paragraph and understand what's the message in that paragraph. And from that message, you'll have to look at the list of options and figure out which is the correct solution. Next up, I would like to talk about POE to find the answer or answers. Now, POE, this is my term. It actually means process of elimination. So if you're having a hard time or having a challenging time finding the answer, it's best to look at the wrong answers first. So if there's no match between the list of options and whatever you have underlined in your text, then you can easily assume that you can cut it off. That's not going to be an answer. Once you do that for 1, 2, 3, slowly you'll narrow it down to your final correct solution. Last off, I'd like to finish things off with check your answers. This is a special condition if you have time in your hands. Now, there are times where you're in a rush, you have to solve other questions, but it's always nice, like before submitting your paper, it's always good to not only check your paragraph headings, but check the whole paper itself. You might make some unnecessary, how should I say this? You might make some accidental mistakes with the spelling, or you probably put the wrong answer for the wrong question. So it's always best to, have a thorough read before submitting it to the examiner. And yeah, that's about it. I think if you follow these tips and rules and instructions, I think you'll be good to go. Take it easy, relax. The more papers you do, the more questions you do, I think, and then you keep a track of your record, I think slowly you will see the progress, day by day, bit by bit. All right, guys, that'll be all for today. Hope to see you next time, and have a good day and have a good night.